Hey, welcome to the stream. What am I up to here? I'm just making some bitmaps. It's malfunctioned. Why the heck is it doing that? Oh. Let's do a little tweak. Whoa. That's not gonna work. Oi oi. I'm just streaming for a bit. I thought I would do some old school stuff. Ah, it's annoying. But I've got a bit of a limitation with this. So I'm trying to pretend that I've got a little editor here where I can add rocks and stuff, but there's a limitation here where the background colour has to be black, and anything that's got black in it is treated as transparent. So it means I can't grab just that little rock there, and I don't know what I was thinking about. But anyway, I could make it 3 colours, that's what I'll do. Take the brown out. Oh, doesn't keep it black. Oh, whatever. Ditch that idea. Slowing me down. Yeah, I was making up this little scene. What I want to do is, you know that Myths Reborn idea? You'll like this. So it's going to be like a turn-based Final Fantasy style game where you've got your dudes there, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, and enemy dudes. And yeah, battle that way. Maybe 4 is a bit much. Probably like tag them out. You'd have maybe 4 profiles here. So you have a team of You have a team of 4 characters that you make, and they're based on mythological creatures, but you customize them, sort of like Spore. Then yeah, there'd be like a sprite version of them and stuff. So yeah, they'd have a face icon, and then there would be like a sprite version. And I'm not sure whether I need to do that as a procedurally generated thing. But anyway, yeah, it's like a turn-based attack thing, and then you would progress up this sort of diorama-ish thing. You know how much I love dioramas. So yeah, and then I even went as far as thinking about that would be pretty cool if it was a 3D base game, then I would have like a rig that you could modify, and then you could attach different arms to it and different head types. I don't care about the skin weighting between the shoulder and that. I would just like make it, you know, old school. They're just there. They swap the arms out and legs and stuff. So you'd have different biped types, like Centaur, Minotaur, and Bipedal. Horses, whatever, creatures. So yeah, that would be my little foreground bit there. So yeah, something procedural generated maybe would be quite cool. Have I froze? Oh. Alright. Yeah, the idea is that you would have XP gained through the game, and you use that to upgrade your 4 main characters. You can obviously just spend all your XP on one character and keep the other 3 as kind of decoys, if you like, and then it means like you just get one main dude. And that's quite easy in old school terms, just changing stats and stuff and sprite colours. But in a modern game, okay, in a modern sense, it would be more or less what I was talking about, where you can customise the look of the characters and effects and animations and stuff. But I was kind of like thinking, let's make it more creative for people, so that you can really like customise the look of stuff. You know, you get like Steam Workshop, where they can make characters and put it into Dota 2 or League of Legends and that. Most people don't have access to tools to make stuff, so it's more like adding the creative tools. I forget what the word is for it. Adding the creative tools so that people can just make that within the same application. I think that would be really cool. And also, like, you've got your own Dominion that you have to upgrade, and you can invite. Think of it as like a home football game. Yeah, editors are great, but a challenge. Yeah, they're fun to make though. I quite like the technical side. But imagine you've also got your Dominion, right? Your realm or whatever. Like imagine this was like my territory, right? whatever, maybe your territory expands. But I can then add objects. That's what I was kind of trying to show. Like, I can add objects to this, like a flag or whatever, to show that I've been here. And my territory can be invaded by, I suppose if it was a you versus computer, it'd be the AI making up these little factions to come and attack you. Or even if it was an online game, then you've got other players. Or I was also thinking, if it was like an old school thing, imagine that I've got my single player game that I play with, I built up my faction through playing I don't know, the story, or a set story basically. And if I've played it pretty well, I'll have good stats and I can play it again and again. I can upgrade my characters. Imagine someone else has done the same and they could kind of load in their profile. I don't know how, but maybe it saves it and then you can load it in and that's you able to play against them and they can challenge you. I don't know, just an idea. It's hard to do certain things with old school computers, but to make it feel sort of like an online battle, but you're just basically loading in their faction into your game, or you load into your faction into their game. That would be kind of cool, kind of different. So yeah, thinking about that, and obviously the creative tools for doing up your realm, but it would just be things like adding things to like a cave or something like that. That's your realm, and then you add objects to it. Right, so this would be the little fighting ground, I suppose, and it might change based on your environment, but let's just say this is the first sort of generic one. And you would have your characters in here. I'm just trying to think how many sprites you would need for a character. Should I make them little squatty things? So that's roughly a sprite size. 1, 2, 3 there, that's a sprite. So 2 of those would make 2 sprites. You're only allowed 8, so that makes sense. I was also thinking of fast swapping some bitmap stuff, so like I got 2 sprites plus, let's say I had a sword, I would just sort of throw it into the bitmap. Some locations, since this is just using one colour, that would kind of work. I just need to watch for other things, there's no colour clash, so in that respect I would have to leave stuff like that. Like, stuff that's in the way, just leave that black, this colour. So it allows for like 2 more colours. So I could do a little sword like that, and that would be the weapon for the character. Just drawing that on the fly into the bitmap as I need it. Or if it's only 2 sprites for my character, just freeze the other one and then, I don't know, grey it out or whatever, or make it part of the bitmap while it's not active. That way you get the sprites back to use. Don't know, there's loads of little options there for dealing with limitations, but you could have your 2 sprites like there, and then the enemy sprites like there. Something like that. So that's 8 sprites in total. Obviously if there's anything like projectiles, but yeah, you wouldn't use all 8, you would just use 2 active, so 4, and these would just be replaced by bitmap. Maybe like a silhouette would kind of work, so it just makes it all black if you're not controlling your dude. But look how much resolution I got, not very much. It's like, how am I going to make a creature looking thing with that? Especially if it's like a horse or something. I don't know. It's not very easy. I do like the idea of a turn-based game though, like Final Fantasy style, because they're relatively easy to make compared to other games. I'm just doing some silhouettes just for fun. It's just proof of concept at this stage. So that's your Myths Reborn game, where you're able to make your characters up sort of procedurally. Yeah. Right, so I'm just going to download that one. Let's see how it's going to look. It looks alright. Basic. Put a bit of more detail in foreground. Just as long as I don't add any more to this, where I might want to add the sword or anything like that. Again, yeah, no, I've actually got room because I'm using only 4 sprites. Yeah, that would work out alright. I'll get an idea how that would work now. This here just checks for colour clash. So if I add an extra colour up here, it will complain that there's too many colours up here. That's one of the amazing limitations of an old machine. Why? It's all to do with bytes and stuff. But it constrains the data into bytes. Fun times. But that's what kind of challenges you to make pretty looking stuff with not a lot of flexibility. Using it big shadows. See, he would be quite a big sprite because it'd be too big. He would take up quite a lot of sprites. Just try to think how much leeway I've actually got. Yeah, he would take up 4 sprites. Did like that. So if you were like against another dude like that, then it's 4 sprites each and that's it. 8 sprites total. I mean, it's fine if I can manage it somehow, like if they've got a projectile weapon or what. As long as I don't take up too much space. So if he's got a club, then he's not got a projectile weapon, therefore he doesn't need another sprite. It's tricky. And also colours of sprites is important. Once you've set 2 colours of the 3 colours of your sprites, you can't really change them. They would change them all, and you would allowed 1 more colour. So I'd need to pre-decide what colour changes and what 2 stay the same. So in this case, black would be an obvious one because it matches the scenery. Pink would be an obvious one because you see skin most of the time. And then your 3rd colour, I guess, would be that grey. So this one could change to be like whatever other colour I wanted. And that could work for the weapon, especially if they got like different like spell types, like that could be ice or something. Lightning, fire, or even, yeah, fire, red, you can't really see. Yeah, so for stuff like that, it would have to be thought about. 2 ideas to make the game like the way I want it first, then strip it back to be less good, I suppose, or just strip it right back so it would work on older machines. But I don't know, it's a challenge either way, whatever way I look at it, because if I was to strip it back later, I would lose maybe some good things that I've added in a more final version. So yeah, got my big belly. A big belly. There. Give my wee belly button. That was this other colour, and I can use that for like shadows. If I wasn't using it for anything else, if I change this one, it's changing all that on the sprite. So really, if I commit to putting shading into the character, I need to do it for all the other ones. So there's lots of like repercussions if you do something, then it has to be done elsewhere. So let's see, and also like the sprites, I need to make 2 versions, diagonal up and diagonal bottom left, unless, yeah, no, I would actually, because for every enemy you fight, yeah, so there's a lot to customize. Like, I might be able to procedurally generate this guy. The head and stuff, so it's really tricky, especially on an old computer. You would just have different like archetypes, like him being like a troll or something. But as soon as you change that colour, every other colour would change. Every colour for every sprite using that colour with sun green. It's really painful to make anything this thing. So basically what you would do then is make that your changeable colour. Alright, and maybe make that your shadow. So that way you can say, right, the skin's pink for this guy, and then for this one it'd be green. So all the pinks will turn green. Might not be too bad, especially if I can keep the weapon as its own extra sprite. That's only in 3 sprites, so squeeze them into 2 sprites might not be too bad. I can't just drag him, I need to do this in photo P or something. So let's see, grid. So much more to think about with old school games all the time, especially like at a planning stage. So if I wanted him to be sort of correct as a sprite, let's just move him so he's, in fact that's kind of alright there. I would just have to change like his posture. That's a changeable colour. That would be a sprite there, his arm. I need to move his head back. Not too bad. So that way, that would be 1 sprite, 2 sprites like that. And you can move this bit back as well. And then that means just his arm and the club is a sprite. You take up 3 sprites. I need to move this all back to keep it within the sprite. I know it might not make sense to a young mind, but why are you not allowed to do these things? It's so bad. We're just so restricted. So basically it would be that sort of thing, which isn't too bad. So you got 3 tiles across, that's your 24 pixels. I could have kept the head like that and moved them back again, actually. Just looking back at that. Yeah, that could all stay the same. Whole thing can move. cool. Didn't see that before, so I already had the right mindset for it. So that would be your 2 sprites tall there. That's I can do maths. 45, no, 8, 16, 24, 32, 40 pixels high. We've got 42, which is fine, and then a sprite there. Now if yeah, and that means like if I wanted to use that colour I could as well, like to highlight it. Or something like that. It needs to be double pixels wide as well. That doesn't really matter. Get away without that. So that would work. Then I'm just going to export that. That shouldn't clash. Dev mr. Go back here. I want to keep that one like that. So import. Right, so that's fine. Let's do like a sorceress. So our 3 colours would obviously have to be black, cream, and then my changeable colour. It might be purple. I can have it change over 2 sprites, but it would be an abrupt change. Like I could make her hair blue. As long as it was in the upper sprite, so 1, 2, 3. I could do something like that. And then her skin would be struck colour pick there. You can't do that here. Well, you can, but yeah, you can. Just fix colour anyway. You could do something like that. Maybe I want to show her arm. Maybe she's wearing blue gloves. Also needs a bit of black to help see it. That's not too bad. Let's fix that a little bit. That actually helps. actually be shorter because it's only supposed to be 21. So that's 3 off 24. I suppose I could use that tone there. It's kind of a slightly lighter version, but it doesn't really show. It's too similar. I can't do blue with it. So that'd be sprite there, and these are kind of not lined up either. So I would need to move that to the right. Let's export it again, because it won't let me do it here because it's got black in it. Fun times. So alright, so I drag this to the right. Just a bit hunched. Change that to a bit of leg. She's got big long kingy boots. I think that helped. Like pseudo dithering, or whatever you call it, pseudo anti-lacing with one colour. You just do a little jag at the change. It sort of helps. Right, so that would be a sprite. That's 24 there, sure. 21. Yeah, 21 by 24. So that's a sprite. And then this one's actually lapsed over to there, so that would be your other sprite there. That's why that one can be blue and that one can be purple as its changeable colour. So you've also got that, the lapsing side. I mean, that can go anywhere. When she changes pose, there would need to be then recorded offsets for the top sprite, like a lookup table depending on the animation or the pose. There's no real other way to do it because it's the way her arm reaches. Otherwise you're restricted in what you can do with the pose and animation. Obviously the diagonal or the isometric look doesn't help, doesn't really make it easier, but it's more foreshortened than side on. Side on is completely profile, so the arm would look longer. Just too many things to think about. let's re-import that just to see that it makes sense. Yep. Yeah, so that's it. I'm just gonna hide those, and I think what I would do is I would keep the other characters out of it. You know, the idea of like showing them as a kind of silhouette if they're frozen out is kind of optional. I think it might be cool if they sort of just jump out and the other character jumps in as the attack. So he'll attack, the next person will jump in, ready to attack. That way it's 1v1, but you've got all your other potential characters. That would help play with the limitation side. Yeah, for now that's really that. Let's just see how it looks in Vice. Obviously no UI doesn't really help it, but that will help for a little teaser. So yeah, this is Myths Reborn, work in progress, where you customize characters and stuff. We'll see how far we can go with the Commodore side, but yeah, it's a fun little project. Thanks for watching the stream. That's going to end. I'm just going to jump back to work now. I just wanted to do that for half an hour. And I'll catch you guys later. Thanks, Nizami.